Welcome to the Planned and Plot Twist podcast. You are here with Kimmy
and Nat.
The chaos, the laughs, basically adulthood on steroids. We talk it all.
We're honest and we're always relatable.
And if you ever felt like everyone else has it figured out,
spoiler, they don't.
This is your safe space to remind you that life's messy, unpredictable, and totally okay. So today we're talking about relationships. So Nat, what is your favorite rom-com?
Oh my god, what a question.
I feel like you have a long...
I do enjoy a rom-com. Does The Princess Diaries count as a rom-com, or is that more like a teenage? No, I don't think that's a rom-com. That's a coming of age. Damn it.
What's that movie with Meg Ryan? You've Got Mail. Or what is another rom-com? The Notebook isn't a rom-com. It's just a romantic.
Love Actually is a
rom-com.
Love it for Love Actually.
I like 10 Things I Hate About You.
I thought that was more like a teenage cover, but no, It is a rom-com. I love 10 Things I Hate About You. It's one of my favorite movies. It's so good. So cute.
The Holidays one, isn't it?
I haven't ever watched The Holiday.
Wait, what?
No, I've never watched it. I don't naturally gravitate to... I have the classics, ones I grew up on. The Holiday is just never one I ended up watching, and then I just don't feel a big desire. I think all the rom-coms we're talking about are all like when we were teenagers.
What about a romantic one? It's like quite sad.
You can't like those movies. I hate crying in movies. You love a good cry.
Well, the Notebook, yeah, that's a good cry.
That is a good cry. It's got to a point where I don't need this emotion. So I don't really sad films anymore.
That's why I don't watch Marley and Me, because I heard it's a sad ending. And those that haven't seen that movie, I refuse to, because apparently it's really sad.
It's so sad. Like,
See?
especially if you've like had animals or dogs, and I grew up with the naughtiest dog, and just like Marley, and oh my god, it's just that you could just see him in... It was like, it's horrible. It's so sad. Love it.
Let's go into some facts. So did you know that the honeymoon phase is a chemical event? So neuroscientist Helen Fisher scanned the brains of people newly in love and found activity in the same dopamine-driven reward circuits that light up in cocaine addiction. So levels of serotonin also drop, which is why you obsessively think about them and you can't focus at work. You're feeling slightly unhinged. This is the honeymoon phase. And after roughly 1 to 2 years, the dopamine fireworks fade and then a different system takes over, which is driven by oxytocin and vasopressin. This is the calmer, deeper attachment stage. So fewer butterflies, but you feel safe and at home with this person. So a lot of people usually panic when the fireworks dim and they assume that their relationship is dying. This isn't a downgrade, it's the relationship.
Oh, that's so interesting, because you think a lot of relationships don't go much further than 1 to 2 years.
Couples who bicker playfully tend to last longer than couples who are coldly polite. So John Gottman, a psychologist who spent decades filming couples and tracking which ones stay together, identified 4 behaviors so toxic that he calls them the 4 horsemen. So criticism, defensiveness, stonewalling, and contempt. He predicts divorce with over 90% accuracy. So couples who openly squabble, like it's your turn to empty the dishwasher, no, it's your turn, I did it twice this week, they often do better than couples that are polite. Squabbling means that you're still engaged, you're still treating each other as equals, and you're worth pushing back against. Cold politeness often means one or both of them have quietly checked out, and contempt is usually simmering underneath. The goal isn't a conflict-free relationship, it's keeping basic respect intact while you argue about the bins. So, interesting. True or false?
I was thinking before we started recording, I truly believe that if you're not bickering, or there's not all the time, but if a relationship that has absolutely no arguments or no bickering and disagreements is as unhealthy as like when you're constantly fully fighting. I think it's as bad. You need to have a little bit of conflict, not all the time, but sometimes. There's science behind my thinking, clearly.
Yeah. So let's talk about the different types of relationships and the different characters in them. For example, one would be the avoidant one. So this is the person who's keen for 3 weeks, suddenly needs space the moment things get real. This is rooted in attachment theory. It usually traces back to their childhood where emotional needs weren't reliably met. Closeness feels threatened. And the trap is they often do want a connection, but they just bolt when they get it. Does this ring a bell in the past?
When you're like dating someone and they seem super keen and then they suddenly pull back and they're like, oh yeah, you'll go from being like chatting about going out for dinner or even maybe going on holiday and then suddenly perform and you're like, where has this come from? Makes sense.
Yeah. I remember going out with this guy. Let's call him Bob, right?
So with Bob, why do we call every guy Bob?
I don't know. Let's change. Let's say Roger. He was keen, but he had an issue with commitment. And we've been seeing each other for 6 months now, but you can't commit. And we're always together, but you can't commit. I find it strange. Maybe it goes back to childhood and that's how they were. Because now I think about it, his dad was in the army, so they would move around often. So he couldn't settle, always moving schools, didn't have the chance to make friendships. But then you meet people that are in the army that are not like that.
Yeah, weird one. Especially when there's like a big disconnect between people that they think they want a relationship and maybe, or they want to play house for a bit. And then it's like, I don't want to do that anymore. But who knows? Who knows what goes through people's minds sometimes?
I'm not looking for anything serious. We touch base on it. They tell you up front that they're not looking for something serious and you can't be mad. However, they take you to their cousin's wedding or they met your dog. So are they lying or are you just hearing what you want to hear? Or is it both?
I definitely had a situation like this when I was younger, when not looking for anything serious, and then it's just like, but I also think sometimes, and this is my own fault, I can change your mind. I'll change your mind, kind of thing.
Yes.
And I did not. And also, like you said, when they're like, oh, like, come and do this, come and do that, let's hang out all the time. And like I said, don't play house if you're not wanting to. Don't treat someone like your other half if that's not the end goal. It's a waste of people's time.
Yeah.
And disrespectful. If you know that deep down you're not into it, then that's just disrespectful.
Yeah, exactly. I met this guy, his name is Roger. He was so keen. I met all his best mates, his mum. I got him a Christmas present. I still didn't know where we stood. Back then I had a blog post and I blogged about how I felt. But I didn't say anything bad about him. I just said, this is how I'm feeling. This is my situation. And I don't know if we're together or not. He read it. He called me up so angry and he said, why did you write a blog post about me? Blah, blah. And I was like, I didn't even state your name because you're not my girlfriend. If I read that and it was someone else's blog, I would feel really sorry for her because she doesn't know where she stands. She's pouring her heart out into a blog post, doesn't know what to do, doesn't know if she's in a relationship or not. I had to take the blog post down. And then from there, it went really awkward because we still see each other here and there, but it was just kind of like fizzled. It wasn't the same. Suddenly he started hanging out with my colleague and classic. Oh, they got together afterwards. Not serious. Don't introduce me to all your best mates and also your mum.
No, not the mum. That's a lie. That's a big ass line to cross. Yeah. If you're not serious. That's really odd.
The third one is the lover girl versus the nonchalant girlfriend. The lover girl is usually described as openly besotted, posts him on Instagram, texts us back immediately, unafraid to be earnest. The nonchalant girlfriend, however, is cool and breezy. So is nonchalance actually empowerment or just avoidant attachment? Or were you the lover girl or nonchalant girlfriend? Have you been both?
Maybe. I don't post my other half too much. Like big occasions. Well, I know some people that literally just constantly post their other halves. And I've never been that kind of person to do that. I'm definitely not nonchalant either. I can't pretend to be all cool and like, whatever. I think I slipped. I think I have bits of both, and I'm somewhere in the middle.
I try to be nonchalant and I just can't. But I'm not besotted as well. I'm not going to be like, I'm going to take every single picture of my partner all the single time. Maybe back then when I was a teenager, a
Yeah.
lot because other people did it and you want to show that you're lovey-dovey. Like,
Yeah.
do people do that now these days?
I don't know. Boyfriend appreciation post.
What about girlfriend appreciation post?
Appreciate being.
The person who plans the breakup weeks in advance. So this is also known as the slow motion exit. They've already mentally moved out, drafted their speech, picked the cafe. Meanwhile, you're booking a holiday for August. There's something almost admirable about it, but also brutal. Have you ever planned a breakup weeks in advance, or maybe someone did it to you?
I don't think it was weeks in advance, but I've definitely been in a relationship where you can feel them slowly backing out the door. It was quite obvious they were backing out. So then I was like, the fuck's going on? I've never done that. I'm quite cut and dry. So I would be like, okay, we're done. Bye-bye. I might be on my mind, but like, I need to do this at some point. It probably came across to the other person as quite a shock, but it wasn't to me. It's also like a woman thing. You speak to a guy and he's like, came out of nowhere. I can't believe we broke up, came out of nowhere. And then you speak to the woman and it's like, we have not been good for years. I don't know if it's also a perception thing. What about you?
I plan. I remember one time I was really nervous about breaking up with a guy and I had to write down my speech. I had to practice it because I was worried about hurting his feelings. But at the same time, he's going to be hurt anyway because we're breaking up. I remember visiting my ex's house and I think he felt it, he knew that was happening because I said, we need to sit down, we need to talk. He was just shaking. And this is hard for me in my head. I was thinking, see, this is why I prefer breakups over text.
You prepare, you're ready for the
Yeah, I'm like,
speech.
and then I'm like,
FAQs.
so do you have any questions?
Do you have any questions for me? How you could have been a better boyfriend?
Yeah,
I've never prepared a speech for a
breakup.
I don't even think that far. I'm just
I
kind of
know.
like, we're done.
Well, unless if he was mean, then I would not prepare a speech for it. Hey, we're done. Over.
We're done.
Just lastly, dated someone who wasn't over their ex. Sometimes maybe the person brings her up unprompted, or your relationship runs on their time of healing, or you become a project rather than a partner. Have you ever dated someone who wasn't over their ex?
I've had it where they've gone back to their ex, which is always fun. I haven't noticed it. I don't think that's ever happened to me either. I'm not a psychopath, but I don't have a lot of sympathy. I weirdly can disattach myself from someone. I've been horrendously heartbroken by all means. I don't think I dated anyone for a good year or so afterwards just because of circumstances. Once we're done, we're done. After that heartbreak, I definitely was like, bye-bye. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know if that's healthy or not, but
No, I think it is.
I have it in all aspects of my life. I might have like a couple of days or a week or so that was sad or whatever, and then I'll just be like, okay.
It's an Aquarius thing.
Oh, is it? It hurts in the moment, and then I go, well, not part of my life anymore. What am I gonna do? Like, they say, maybe they'll come back, and then you move on.
Yeah.
As you get older and a bit more life experience, you're like, yeah, the world is way bigger than you think. Yes. You might feel like your world is ending in that moment, but it is not. You'll get through this. I've always struggled when friends have carried on talking to exes or carried on seeing their exes, and I'm like, oh, why? Ew. Done. Next.
It's funny because I remember I dated someone. We just went on one date and it was a friend, and I think he saw me more than that. So I thought I'll go on a date with him. He kept talking about his ex and it made me think about my ex. And then we were on this date talking about exes and I realized, hold on a minute, this isn't a date. This is just two friends healing and talking about it. We had dinner and that's it.
I mean, that's quite cute. Quite a nice thing to do, but not romantic.
A couple of weeks later, oh, by the way, we got back together. I was like, good for you. Moving on to part 2. It's who is the problem? I have a few anonymous scenarios, and we will discuss, and you let me know who is the problem in this scenario.
Oh,
Number 1. This is called the birthday one. My boyfriend of 2 years didn't get me a birthday present. He said he doesn't believe in performative gift giving and would rather show love every day. I cried. He says I'm materialistic. Who's the problem?
Him.
Okay.
Full stop. This show is very familiar. Whatever you want and whatever your values are, I don't believe in gift giving. If your partner likes gifts and you can talk about the different love languages, if receiving gifts or giving gifts is someone's love language, regardless of how you feel, you should do that for them.
Yeah.
If you think you're materialistic, but like the whole thing of gift giving, it can be so sentimental, cheap, and homemade. It doesn't have to be super expensive. If that's what makes that person happy and that's what they would like, you should do it.
There should be
love every day.
Exactly.
You want to make someone feel special every now and again.
It's the effort. It's the compromise. It's also lovely to give a gift. It can be homemade. It can be a simple bake a cake or make breakfast, whatever.
It doesn't have to be big and flashy and expensive. It's a gesture, and
exactly.
Just give love every day. You should be giving love every day. That should be like, oh, I don't get you gifts because I give you love every day. What do you mean? Saying that you don't love your other half every day? You should. That's not a valid excuse. Awful. Dump him.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
The next one is the group chat one. So my friend is dating my ex. She asked if I was okay with it, and I said yes because I felt I had to. Now they're in love, and I've left the group chat. Am I being dramatic?
And then I don't know why you wouldn't have left the group chat because of that. There's maybe a conversation to be had with that person directly and say, actually, I am struggling with this a little bit. Maybe more than I originally thought I would. That's okay to admit that you were initially wrong. It might not be a case that like I want that person back. It might just be it's hard to see them move on with someone I know or someone so close to me. It's a personal ego type thing. Maybe I don't think you should have left the group chat. You don't need to do that. You're leaving your whole group of friends over one situation. So that seems like a bigger leap. If you're leaving the group chat, then and you're feeling the need to leave that whole group of friends, maybe this isn't the reason. Maybe this is like the cherry on top that's made you go, actually, I need to exit this friendship group.
It was quite dramatic and makes it a little awkward.
Especially if you're not telling anyone, you just like, peace out. Bye. Okay. Sorry. I would like to be on the side of every person that writes in, but dramatic.
Also, you did say it was okay for them to go out.
You need to at least express that this is a problem, and maybe you just don't want to hear about it or hear about them or for another while, or so there's no need to drop a grenade into your whole friendship group.
Exactly. The texting one. My boyfriend texts his female best friend more than he texts me. They've known each other since school. I asked him to text her less. He said I'm insecure. Who's the problem?
I've had a boyfriend that texts a female friend more. He did a whole host of other things. We could do like a 2-hour long episode on like craps. Let's do that sometime. It's not so much that he texts about texting her less, but why does he text her so much more than you would be my question. Does that make sense?
It clearly means that he still turns to his best friend than to the girlfriend.
That's not to say that's not a problem, but I've been there when my boyfriend at the time has not messaged me until 3 p.m. and then I realize they're sending good morning messages to each other. And it's like, you've managed to message this person all day. If it's coming at the expense of you and your time, that's probably a problem. But maybe not. I feel so conflicted by this one because I don't want to be like, guys can't have girlfriends.
Yeah.
They can, but I understand that if you feel like it's at the expense of you, then I could see the issue there.
I agree, because you are allowed to have female friends. But if she feels that there is something between them that shows, I don't know, woman's intuition, or there's evidence there that there's something going on, maybe she has the right to say, to raise a concern. I also don't think she should control him and say, text her less.
There's obviously a gap in needs.
Yes.
Maybe it's not so much about texting her, it's working out what you want instead. Is it that you feel like he's giving too much time? And so it's a balance of, instead of being text that person less, you need to work out what the needs that you're asking for.
Yes.
Is it a case that you're out for dinner and he's like, da, 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 and yeah, fair, text her less. But there's a conversation to be had here. There's more going on.
I think they also need to communicate better as well.
Insecurity isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
You're allowed to get a little bit insecure sometimes. Also, maybe your other half should respect you. I never said don't be friends with them. Maybe just don't, not all the time.
The ex's wedding one. So my partner wants to go to his ex's wedding. They dated for 5 years and ended on good terms. I love your face expression. He says it would be weird not to go, and I don't want him to go. Who's the problem? Bizarre.
Weird. I am baffled by this one, to be perfectly honest. I think you are completely valid in feeling like that is very odd to go to an ex's wedding, especially like they dated for 5 years. There's clearly a very intense long-term relationship. So to then be invited would be quite odd, but then I'd also be interested to know the person that they're marrying's opinion on it, because that'd also be really weird to invite an ex to the wedding. Unless you were very young when you say we dated and it's not really dating, then I could understand it, and you're just in the same friendship group, then I can understand that, like 10, 15, 20 years on, they're just a mate. But I think that feels a bit weird. Where do you want to go?
Why does it feel weird to not go?
I wouldn't go.
You can't really force them to be like, hey, don't go.
Yeah, you definitely can't force them to. And then if they still go and you say, I'm uncomfortable with this, then I'd probably be like, that feels like a boundary cross. Or, especially if they've been invited and you've been dating for a while and you're not the plus one, I'd find quite odd, because if everything's so hunky-dory and you've all moved on, then bring a plus one. Weird. Don't like that one.
Don't like it.
Bad feelings. But it's fine to be like, why would you go? Why would you go to that? It's a lot to be like, it's weird for me not to go. Unless it's a big friendship group thing. But like I said, if you're not invited as the plus one, that's suspicious.
That is very suspicious. 3. Run! So, tell me one of your worst dates.
I'm going to start off, but then I'm going to explain myself, and because I think it's going to come across bad. But once I explain myself, it doesn't come across as bad. I went on a date with someone, and we went to a nice, not super expensive bar in London, and it wasn't a match. That's fine. He spent the whole time talking to me about how he still works with his girlfriend and all this sort of stuff, his ex-girlfriend and stuff like that. And I was just kind of like, this is a bit suspicious and a bit weird. And then he spent a long time telling me he was a junior doctor at the time, and he frequently just went on this rampage of how he's really poor and he has no money and he can't do anything. I'm not expecting private jets and stuff like this, but all I could think of is, oh, are you even going to want to go out for dinner with me? Yeah. You're making out that you're so poor, and then you're working all these long hours with your ex-girlfriend. Generally, I don't think we're a match, because if we started dating, it's like, oh, I can't afford to go on holiday, I can't afford to do this, I can't afford to do anything. This just sounds like a real fun time for us. I was early 20s at the time. I want to live my life and do my things and and so it was just kind of like, that doesn't sound great. Cherry on top was when we went to leave, especially first dates and general dating, always happy being a 50-50 girl. You have to do the dance, right? So, and you get the check and you're like, okay, cool. Oh, should we split? Yeah, let's split, kind of thing. He literally opens the thing and goes, split? We've had 2 drinks. Not cocktails, I'm talking gin and slim. Nothing fancy. Not the most expensive drinks in the world. I was going to split anyway, but it was like, oh, he was like, this is really fun. I was like, yeah. The worst part was, luckily, not opposite ends of the tube lines, but he lived on the same tube line as me. So I was like, I'm going to walk to the tube. And he's like, me too. Same line.
I have a similar story. We went to Nando's and
romantic.
very romantic. And we walked to the desk to order. They didn't come to your table. And then he was like, do you mind grabbing your own? This is our first date. He goes, oh, it's just because my student finance didn't come through. Can't afford it. Fair, he's honest, but he did say that he would take me on a date and take me out. So on our first date.
That's being like, I'm going to take you out, is very much implying that you're going to go and paying is really difficult because, like I said, I'm happy to do the 50-50 thing. Dating is expensive. If you can't actually afford to date, then maybe just take a break.
Can't afford to date? Take a break.
Take a break. It's a weird one.
This rule, if you ask someone out for a date, you have to pay.
It's almost like, I'm going to take you out. Take you out for dinner.
Let me take you out for dinner.
It's a very different sentence to, shall we go out? Would you like to go out? Do you want to meet up sometime? Being like, I am going to be assertive. I'm going to take you out town. Have a great time if you pay.
Yeah,
it is really difficult because I've never done the whole a man should pay for me and kind of thing. There's levels to it. And someone being like, oh, I don't want to put 20 quid bar tab on you.
Thanks.
There's a dance. You can play it off. You don't have to be like, oh, I can't afford it. Why are we out? If you can't afford a meal, my love, why are you here?
Just go home.
Don't go out this week. Wait for your student finance to come in. Make up an excuse, something. This is not needed.
I remember I was on a date with a guy and we were arguing about who pays. It was so awkward. It wasn't our situation, but we were just talking about it in general. We were talking about gender equality. And he was saying women should pay too. Yes, I know what you mean, but it's not equal in the world because we started talking about how men get paid more than women, which is still true in this world. He was saying that isn't true. It's equal now. Women, we face a lot of problems in the world compared to men. It's just the way it is. It goes back in the 1800s. It's just the way that life is. Men get more promotions and pay raises. Women, we feel like we have to compete in this world. And he was just like, it's not true. You do make more money than women.
You can't deny facts. I find that so weird. You cannot deny the facts that is a gender pay gap. Companies wouldn't have to report on their gender pay gap. They wouldn't have to do it publicly if it wasn't a problem. You wouldn't have to prove that they're like trying to shorten the gap or have gender pay equality if it wasn't a problem. It wouldn't be a topic if it didn't exist in the world. That's just a bizarre thing for a bloke to be like, that doesn't exist. You can very easily see from all the data we have around if a man is something ridiculous, 60% qualified for a role, they'll apply for it, whereas a woman won't unless she's 90% qualified or even 100% qualified for a role, or even overqualified for a role. The way we even apply for these jobs is there's a gap there as well because we don't feel like we can. Should have just left. Sure. Right. I'm seeing more and more stuff online of people saying, I'm going to pay my half of the tab and I'm leaving. Right. Power to those women. Yeah. And those people that are doing that, because don't waste your time. I just remember getting home, and then at the time I had housemates, and I got back and they were all just like messing about and having a really fun evening, chatting and just having giggles. I just remember what a waste of my evening. I have a finite amount of time in the week and I've just wasted makeup, wasted at least 2 hours of my life, and I've just had to pay £3.10 for the tube. Power to people that are just nah. I've had this conversation with my old house not too long ago we were saying, I don't even know if I would actively date if I became single again. I am so okay in my own company. I'm not saying I wouldn't go on dates, but I don't know if I'd actively be, not for a long time kind of thing. I don't think I would go into another relationship very easily or quickly. I would just want to be on my own, and maybe that is the problem. I remember thinking growing up, especially as a young teenager, being like, I didn't have my first boyfriend until I was like 17. All these girls had boyfriends at like 13. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm so weird. I haven't had a boyfriend yet. You're made to think that that's going to make you whole. There's this big shift of you shouldn't need another half. You should want them. I think that's the big shift we're seeing in the dating world, is that back in the day, you used to have all these statistics how you couldn't even open a bank account until like the 80s on your own, all this sort of stuff. You needed a man to be in society. You needed a man to function, to do basic things, or you needed your dad to open a bank account for you. That's ridiculous. We're in a world now where you don't need that. You don't need to lower your standards. You don't need a subpar human anymore. That's the big problem, is that a lot of men are like, oh, your standards are too high. Maybe by society standards were too low to begin with. Divorce rates are really, really high. I've also known from family friends and distant families, they've broken up later in life. One family friend saying I stayed with them for the kids, and as soon as the kids were 18 and adults, I got rid of them. That's just not a thing anymore. I don't think that's seen as strong anymore. What we define as a strong woman is being, I'm leaving your ass. I'm going to be fine.
Yep.
That's a healthy thing. We've grown up, we are raised to be a lot more aware and self-aware, whereas I don't think a lot of men are necessarily. I think a lot of the disconnect is around self-awareness, is around sitting down with someone and them saying, there's no such thing as a gender pay gap. The lack of awareness, the lack of self-awareness in that is ridiculous. Why would I entertain someone that doesn't even see these things when I could be on my own, or I could find someone else? It's not desirable to just be anymore. Bring something to the table.
Bring something to the table. We're moving on to the last part, soft launching a breakup. So we unpack the subtle signs someone is emotionally exiting before the relationship officially ends. So have you ever soft launched a breakup? Have you ever been soft launched? What are the telltale signs of someone is trying to break up with you?
You can definitely feel like an energy shift. You just feel this like big step back.
Less communication.
Just a sudden like wave of coldness or bluntness, and things you've chatted about before, mid, long term. Suddenly they're like, yeah, we'll go on holiday. And suddenly I don't want to talk about that anymore. I think you can see the signs.
I feel like they would make less effort into everything. Or they push things back, like they don't want to see you.
Busy.
Too busy, always too busy. I had that before.
I'm not one for soft launching. As we have previously discussed, I'm like, done.
Bye-bye.
We're over. Once I go to do it, it's quite abrupt. That's just how I attack life, quite abruptly. I don't think I've ever soft launched any or soft broken up any of my relationships. I think I've had a knowing feeling.
The guy was my ex. Just suddenly things started to be slow. And I was thinking, we usually have our calls in the evening. And it was like, oh, sorry, I've got a deadline to meet. The football's on. Slowly pushing away. Then I started anxiety because I was always checking my phone. I just felt something was off. He's ignoring me. And then he said, I just don't think it's working out. I need some time to myself. And we just come back to it, review it in a week's time. I'm not a project. I was like, no. I just said, no. Let's just call it a day. That's the exact word. Then I got over it. I'm just going to live my single life. 2 months later, I was crawling back. Can we go back together? I went, no. Right.
No, thanks. Absolutely not. Ugh.
You're right. It's an energy shift.
Yeah, my breakups have been probably like a big energy shift, but it happened very, very quickly. The energy shift went over only 2 days, and then the end of the next day we were done. Once the rock is rolling down the hill, it is going full speed for me. Roll gracefully. I feel like when the relationship starts to go downhill, it just goes very quickly and it's just gone, and you're like, oh, we were fine a week ago, but now we're not. Sort of situation. So there's been no time to process it. It's like, oh, it's happening.
That's it, folks. That sets up for our next episode on breakups and finding the one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us for the next one. Bye.
Bye.